We did this breathwork technique for about 10 minutes. That just blew me away. I feel like I cleared about 10 or 20 years worth of trauma in that 10-minute period.
This is the Born to Be Brilliant podcast, helping you harness the habits and unlock the tools to bring you more meaning, vibrance, and the personal power to help you shine like the diamond you are. Hello everybody, welcome to this episode of Born to Be Brilliant podcast. I'm delighted to be joined today by Octavia Christina. She is a soul alignment coach. She is a breathwork facilitator and she is the founder of One Mind Academy. This lady has some incredible stories to tell us and she's going to start by telling us all about her journey. So Octavia, a very warm welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful introduction and very articulate. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Well, you deserve it. You deserve it. For the benefit of our listeners, Octavia, I'd love for you to describe in layman's terms and what you do and what brought you into this world and this work.
Yeah, thank you. So, yes, I would call myself a soul alignment coach, as you just said, breathwork healer, facilitator. And gosh, for me, I just come alive when I am supporting people to activate the truth of who they are. So when I look back at when I first started my business, I was doing coaching sessions, I was doing random things, trying to piece it all together. And the common thread that was always there was that I love to unlock someone's potential. I really, really love just like really seeing who someone is and extrapolating their soulful gifts and then actually starting to support them and how they can actually share this with the world and actually then start to share their unique gifts and actually make the world a better place. So I'm driven so much by just this ripple of love in the world and support so that we can all kind of make the world a better place. So that was really, really short is what I'm so passionate about. But for me getting into all of this, so where do I begin? Okay, so I knew from a very young age that I was put on the planet to help people. I had no idea how, and I didn't know what that would look like. I thought I'd go down like the charity work route, which I'd still love to in future. I got to about the age of 19 and I was at uni. And I remember being like, there's got to be something more. I feel like I'm not really interested in what everyone's doing. I mean, I did love to go out at that time, but I got to a point where I was like, there's got to be more to this existence. I need to know more. So I found a meditation society at university and I joined it and everyone like made fun of me. They thought it was hilarious that I was going to meditation society. And I actually found the most incredible teacher who helped me to really explore the truth of who I was through meditation. And I, from there, just went down this rabbit hole. I just wanted to know more and more and more and more. And to the point where I was feeling really, really called to go to India. So it was the age of about 23, just after, I finished uni, a year after I finished uni. I said, I'm going to go to India and I'm just going to really immerse myself in all of these practices and just understand what on earth is going on in this life. So I got to India and it was about 2 or 3 days in where I actually had a very almost traumatic experience internally. Nothing external was happening to me, but it's something activated in me and almost like a memory or something unearthed itself as I was in India, where I was having anxiety, I was having insomnia, I was having recurring nightmares, the same nightmare over and over again. It was just super intense to the point where I was like, I literally lost myself completely. I thought I'd got, gone mad. I thought I'd got schizophrenia or something. And one of my cousins, who's actually, I'll try to make this less confusing, but my dad's identical twin, his daughter, and she was schizophrenic. And genetically, me and my cousin are half sisters. So I remember when this was happening to me, I was thinking, this is happening to me too. Like I'm following this story. I've got the same thing. And unfortunately, she took her own life. So the whole thing for me was very traumatic at the time. And so I was panicking. I was really, really panicking. I'd lost all sense of sort of reality. I didn't know how to get out of this chronic panic, really. And I was in India for about 2 months and I was going on this yoga retreat and I was trying all these different things to support myself, but I was just in complete panic, and I couldn't get out. I almost completely lost my mind.
Oh, wow.
um, so I remember staying in India for a couple more months thinking, I mean, I could come home, but I know this is going to follow me. This isn't going to stay in
Yeah.
India. So I tried to brave it. I tried to just shift it, and I absolutely couldn't. I came home in January. Sorry, I say this as if you know when I went. I went in November and I came back in January. And I, from that point forward, was like, oh my gosh, I need all the help I can get. So I reached out to hypnotherapists, healers, meditation teachers, all these different types of healers, teachers. I went on so many different trainings just to really find out what the hell was going on and how I could shift this. And
Mm.
bit by bit, I started to shift it. But there was one thing that I went to, and I think it was a consciousness event or something. And one of the events that they had there was breathwork. And we did this breathwork technique for about 10 minutes and then 20 minutes integration. And that just blew me away. I feel like I cleared about 10 or 20 years worth of trauma in that 10-minute period. And I
Wow.
was just sobbing, crying. There's other people in the room and people were screaming, crying, just like it was such a release. It was so, so powerful. And after that, I just said to the teacher, what was that? Because that I've tried a lot and this
Yeah.
incredible. So yeah, from there I was like, I know I have to train in this. I know I have to help people in this capacity
Yeah.
because it's just life changing.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, in short, that's what's happened. That's what happened, and it's led me to where I am now, which is to support other ladies to become breathwork healers and to become soulful coaches so that they can then support other people and impact their corner of the world, let's say. So yeah.
Amazing. That is incredible. And so, like lots of us, we go through things that we then go, wow, other people need to know and feel the benefit of this. And how do I pay it forward and put this into the world? It's not like you say, it's not like you went into that, I'll give this a go. You knew, you tried lots of things. You had done the work, as it were.
Mm.
What was different then about that? What was different about that work?
Yeah, I think it was such a fast track into the subconscious and it was
Right,
going straight into the body. So a lot of the other things that I was training in was maybe a bit more cognitive and working with the mind. This
right,
was literally bypassing the mind and going straight into the subconscious mind, which is also our bodies. So we hold trauma in our bodies. Whatever happened to us in the past, we hold it in the body. Now if we don't release it properly, then it's just going to stay trapped. So I think I was probably operating from like my head.
yeah,
When I did this experience and I got into the body, I was then able to purge and release. And a lot of the time with breathwork, you don't even know why you're crying, but it's like a body release,
yeah,
a body cry. Sometimes you might have images and things flashing in, and maybe past memories that need to come up to clear, emotions that need to be raged out, cried out, whatever it is. But it's just so powerful because it can really just bypass the mind. And for me, I think because I had such an active mind and still do have such an active mind, I really have to work on that. It was just a real, quick way of bypassing the mind and really getting to the bottom.
that sounds like the kind of thing that would have benefit someone like me with a
Mhm.
active ADHD mind where it's never quiet up there and it is really hard to kind of get the stillness. And I always feel the benefit when I do, but I don't doubt that when I do it's similar to how you were describing before, like traditional meditations and mindfulness, but not to the
Yeah.
depth of what you're describing, of where you get straight into that, I suppose, intense level of just being and
Yeah.
not thinking or
Yeah.
feeling as such, just being. And
Yeah, absolutely.
mm,
I think you're right. I think for the really busy minds, I think breathwork is such an umbrella term. I'm talking like
yeah,
deep dive, emotional trauma release breathwork, where you
yeah,
really clear and go to it. All the people I know who are really active in their mind resonate so much with breathwork because they're able to just really get out of that and really tap back to the mind. And I know to the body. And I know people do struggle to do meditation, mindfulness when the mind is so active. And I think that's maybe like a longer term practice, which is so
yeah,
important and powerful.
yeah,
But it's not as like quick
Yeah.
to get to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So tell me about some of the benefits behind that, because you've mentioned trauma and releasing trauma, and I think, let's face it, we get to a point in life where we can all say we have some in some degree or another. There's it's everywhere. Releasing trauma, and we can hold that in our bodies, and I don't doubt that that has effects on not just our emotions and our nervous systems, but probably physical ailments, other responses, the gut, the immune system. I'm sure there are so many parts of the body that are impacted by trauma. Yeah, just talk me through some of the benefits that it
Yeah.
has on us. You
Yeah.
obviously released so much in a short space of time, and it changed your life right then and there.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah,
I think the biggest and the easiest way to perceive it is the understanding that we are all energy. Everything is energy,
yeah,
including our bodies. I mean, we're literally like, I think it's 90% or 95% empty space in between the cells. So we, as we go through life and things happen to us, we can actually get trapped energy in the body. Emotion, in other words, is energy in motion. So you can literally just get these blockages that happen. Yes, we can be eating like the wrong foods and the toxins that we, ingest and take on. But the biggest cause of disease really is trapped energy in the body. So when we do breath work, we are breathing in new energy, and we are actually clearing the energy pathways in our body to allow for the releases, which is why we have such, sometimes huge releases, because there's a blockage there which is being moved through. So in that sense, it really clears the way so that you can really see and feel the truth of who you are. And I think for me, that's where like the gold is
mm,
allowing people to awaken and to really come back to their soul and to their spirit, and clear the pathways. And it's a journey. One breathwork session it could be life changing for somebody, but each time you do breath work, it's a different experience, and you're tapping into different parts of yourself. So you can develop your intuition, you can develop your creativity, you can calm and balance the mind. It's just profound. And so I think until someone's tried that real deep dive emotional release, it's just words. You really have
yeah,
to experience it and embody it, and it can blow you away, and it's just such a powerful healing modality, which I would recommend to everyone if they have
yeah.
the correct health and they can.
And I
Yeah.
suppose then, the next layer to that in terms of the outcomes means that you may perform better in, well, life generally, show up as a better parent, spouse, friend, improve relationships, your own health, and I guess your mission and purpose, because like you said, it helps you find who you truly are and your true purpose. And how many of us, I suppose, walk around out there, just going through habitual motions that are largely responsive to external circumstances and things, and not not really getting that fulfillment that would come
Mm.
from being completely on purpose, on mission, on point with
Yeah.
who we're supposed to be.
Totally. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. We are. We kind of do go through the motions, and kind of a bit robotic and a bit numb at times.
Yeah,
And until like something maybe major happens to us, we're kind of happy on that path. But I think until we tap into the real truth of who we are, and the fact that we are a spiritual being connected to the cosmos, and we have so many, just so many higher parts of ourselves, which isn't
yeah,
just this reality. And as soon as we understand that we're not just this little space meat suit that
mm-hmm.
we travel around in, and actually realize there's a whole spiritual self, soulful self that we can really connect deeper to, to the energies out there.
mm.
So it's so powerful to connect people back to, okay, this is true. I feel this. I really feel this now. It's not just a mind concept. It's something that I really can feel and embody. Yeah, it's really powerful.
Have you? So obviously, you had this major breakthrough moment when you went through this, and did you feel like then it was like an instant fix? Because you said you'd spent months going, "I've got to work through this. I'm going to find a way," and then you're like, "Right, I'm going to come home," and
Yeah.
it obviously wasn't going easily, and then big turning point for you. Was it like, okay, I'm good? I'm
Good to
free. Like, I'm sure you've obviously needed to do more as you go, but like, was it that much of a shift, like that
Mm.
quickly?
I would say, I mean, in general, there's no like quick fixes, right?
No.
It's a journey and a process, and but I do feel for me and for many others, my clients, their experiences with their clients, it is a moment in time where it can create such a profound release and awakening
Yeah.
that it's undeniable, and it. Yeah, I've seen people at my retreats, never done breathwork before, and they do breathwork and they've done a breathwork journey and they come up the other end, they look completely different. And they've just gone like, oh my God. You know, I've had people say it's been more powerful than their ayahuasca journey, which for those of people who don't know is an hallucinogenic plant, which is used for, you know, spiritual connection and awakening, which is, I mean, I've done ayahuasca a few times and it's very profound and it can be very abrupt. But people have said they've had more sort of visions and more connection to themselves through breath work, which is so powerful. So I think when breath work comes at the right time for somebody, it can
Yeah.
be really, really life changing. Of course, you know, we always have to do like continual work on ourselves. And, you
Yeah.
know, you might do it 1 month and then in 6 months' time, you might have another profound release that, you know, a really big block that you really need shifting. And that could be the shift that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Are there, is it possible that people may fear what might come
mhm.
up, or fear, you know, the whole it's safe and familiar in this comfort zone of trapped trauma, and if I go to unlock it, what might come up, and what, you know, does anybody ever ask that on the
Yeah.
way in?
Yeah, I think most people, when they come to a breathwork class or you know do a one-to-one breathwork, they are searching. They are desiring a shift and a
Right.
change.
Yeah.
So, but yes, absolutely. I feel like people are quite, you know, sometimes people are quite comfortable with where they're at, and it takes something really big for them to go, okay, I need to work now. I need to work on myself. I really need to look within. Like, you know, there's been a shift, and I need to look at myself now. Otherwise, if the pain isn't that strong or big, people aren't going to change. So there really kind of needs to be a little bit of a kick up the arse. And often that's
Right.
like something from the universe that will, you know, something will crumble or something will happen, which makes people start to look within
Mm.
because they can't quite do the same thing as they did before. So,
Mm.
yeah, but I do feel like it's very courageous. And anyone who comes and does a breathwork journey they're really tapping into courage. And you know, people initially can be fearful diving into it because it's a whole world of unknown within us, which
Mm.
I think a lot of us are afraid of.
Mm.
So as soon as we can actually dive in and trust and actually, yes, we all have shadows. We are light, we are dark. That's the beautiful duality and our dual nature. And most people, I would say, are a bit fearful, including myself at times, you know, of our own shadow.
Mm.
So when we are diving into it, it is a bit scary. But the benefits of doing that is when we open it up and bring our light to it, it releases and it clears, and we no longer are held back by that block or that shadow, and we
Mm.
can move on to the next
Yeah.
block of shadow.
Yeah.
You know, the journey that never really stops. But yeah.
I don't doubt that. I mean, you know, I'm just in a snapshot reflection of my life, can think of several events or happenings that, you know, have been difficult, challenging, had to overcome, and, you know, you process them as best you can and so on. But I'm sure that even for somebody who might be feeling like they have processed or dealt with a certain trauma, there's so much likelihood that there's something trapped, there's something that's not been released. And I mean, I can even think of an accident that happened where I still get, every now and then, a little replay comes up in my head, and although everything worked out okay in the end, I
Mm,
still have moments of like, oh my goodness, I just don't, I feel nauseous even thinking about that
mm,
event. Is it the kind of work that can release that sort of thing then, so that, you know, you're no longer replaying that
mm.
event with those feelings of
Yeah,
terror?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good question. Yes, it can, you know. So when events happen to us and it can create shock or terror,
Mm.
like it literally freezes us, and it can then become locked in the body. So especially with intention, like if you go into it with the intention of like, I'm ready to clear this and I'm ready to release this energy that feels like it's trapped and it's stuck in the body, then it could be really, really powerful in releasing that if you are ready to release it, and I'm sure you feel and know this, but sometimes we hold on to things because it kind of gives us a little bit of secondary gain in some capacity, and sometimes we don't know who we are without it. So some of these things can be so deep rooted that it's like, oh, we don't want to, there's part of us that doesn't want to let it go. But for things like, for past like shock and, terror and things like that, yes, I do believe we can clear it using, lots of different practices, but breathwork, I think, is so powerful to really.
You touched on something there that just made me think, like, I do know people where, who would they be without that story? And I think, some people probably do hold on to past trauma to a point of victimhood to feel, because it's the only place they know and feel safe. And I'm thinking of the sorts of people who wouldn't be ready or willing to do the work, or perhaps even if they would, had some sense of, oh, well, how's this going to help me, or how's this going to change me? The same would be applied to any kind of beneficial practice. But like I do know people like that, where the thought process would be, I don't need that, or that won't work for me, or and staying in that place of and thinking of people like that. I do think there must be a sense of who would they be if all of that was released, like, and how amazing that you get to do the kind of work that unlocks that, the root of, I just find that fascinating and so exciting. No wonder you love that kind of work. It's like the true essence of who somebody is capable of being, but that is often trapped behind what has happened along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you see us as just like, we're like layers, there's just like onions, and we're just clearing. And when we tap into that, our soul, when we tap into that connection and that oneness, understanding that we are not just a human, we are this soul and spirit that resides within us, then that is something so awakening and powerful about that, and trusting in the fact that, okay, I'm safe, I'm protected, there's more, this energy, this soul, it transcends the body. And I really liked what you said, understanding, who would people be without it. And the biggest addiction there is actually emotional addiction. Our biochemistry, based on what we were raised with and what we're familiar with, is what we seek. So we are naturally going to magnetize and attract whatever it is that we feel familiar with. And the victim consciousness is super interesting, and we all, play a part with this. And it's like, we don't want to face another reality, or we don't want to go through the pain, because the shadow side is painful sometimes. It's so liberating the other side, but it can be very confronting, very, very confronting. And actually, it's easier just to put it in a box and say no. And actually, it's happening to me, not for me. And I love that phrase where it's everything's happening not to me but for me. And from there, we can actually use every challenge as a gift, and to ascend through these challenges to awaken more and more to our inner light.
You said the word transcendence. That's been on my mind lately. And I really love to understand that more. I understand like layers of consciousness, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of being in that transcended state, it's somewhere I feel like I've popped to, but it's not something you just stay in a level of transcendence like permanently, is it? But can you explain like that a bit more? Because I find it fascinating. I'm like, I genuinely want to know more about this, because I've tried to explain it to friends, and I'm like, I don't really know.
Totally. And I think, you're right. I think we all feel pockets of it at times, and it's like the essence comes in and then it kind of leaves us, and we are able to tap more back into that with practice, with dedication. And I would say for me, it's this transcendent place it's a place of just total stillness, peace, bliss. It's the mind's not chattering, there's not chaos, and it's just simply this being, this presence, and almost like the observing. I'm just observing everything that's happening. And I mean, I've been meditating probably since I was 19, so probably 13 years now. And there's, not much of that time in the 20 minutes that I meditate each day am I experiencing this transcendent place, but there might be just like moments of it. And that moment of experiencing that, it goes beyond just the meditation. It then like ripples out to everything that you do, and you've kind of almost like tapped into a little bit of light inside of you, which then can emanate out more. So, I mean, this is like the mystery, isn't it? The mystery of what it all is. I actually had a session the other day, which was so beautiful. It was an impersonal, well, it's kind of a new concept, but impersonal dimension session with a lady. And it was so cool to work with her. And honestly, the whole process was just lying down, surrendering. There was beautiful music playing, and she was doing some kind of energy work, which I didn't really open my eyes for. But I honestly just tapped into this place of just pure bliss, quiet, spaciousness. It felt like time didn't exist. It was just like, I almost felt like my body and the air around me was just one. I would say this oneness, and which is actually why I call my academy One Mind Academy. It's just like this understanding that we're all one consciousness. We're all tapped into this one mind, this divine mind, which so often we think we're separate because we're not tapping into it consciously. So yeah, it's the great mystery.
It is, and actually, and you don't have to see. I'm a stickler for like, oh, am I doing it right? Is this right? And for years, I didn't even attempt meditation because I thought, oh no, I'm not doing it right. That's not how you do it. That's not. And once I realized that no, that is okay. That does count. What you're doing there does count as meditation. There are different ways, and it's not wrong. And as soon as I took the pressure off, and that comes from probably the perfectionism, but like when I took that pressure from it, oh no, okay, there's different styles, there's different layers. Sometimes it will be at this level, other times it will be. But yeah, I think we do put pressure on ourselves, especially when we don't fully understand something. But that's where that trust is huge, right? And just trusting that it will be exactly what it's supposed to be at that time and in that moment. And yeah.
I love that. Absolutely. I think because we're such a goal-orientated society, it's like, right, I want to get to the goal. I want to get there. And actually, like, take the goal away, take the judgment and the pressure away. Yeah, there's no wrong. It's just being. There's absolutely no wrong. And at times when you do tap into something a little bit deeper, great. But the other times when your mind's just chaotic and busy, but you still manage to sit and observe it, that's also incredible. So yeah, there's absolutely no wrong way of doing it. And there's no pressure, there's no judgment about it.
Yeah, I think that's where we talk about it as work, right? We have all these different types of works, but actually it's not really work. It doesn't have to be. It's not hard. It's just I think being open to the possibility of the benefits you'll feel when you actually open up and absolutely. You go.
I remember my meditation teacher saying, the first 2 months of your meditation practice daily, that's the most confronting, because you're then sat with your thoughts. You're then sat with, it's a little bit like, you don't know how to navigate sitting with yourself and observing and being. And so when you get past that 2 months, often it's then like, then you can really sink in and really see the benefits. But yeah, I think the first couple of months can be actually a little bit confronting, which is probably why most people try. Then they're like, no, I don't like it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. So yeah, it's just a practice, really.
Yeah, even just the amount of breathing I've sort of learnt to do. And whenever I've shared that with anybody else, they're like, wow, this feels good. I'm like, yeah, it does, doesn't it? And all it is breathing in air and exhaling. But actually, we underestimate how much we don't do that. And I used to, not so much these days, but I used to catch myself and think, you've just been holding your breath. You're not actually even breathing right now. Just, whoa. And it's such quite addictive. Just
Yeah.
pure oxygen is actually quite addictive.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's literally the life force, the everything that we require to be alive. So why not
Yeah,
breathe more?
definitely. Oh, I mean, I'm already like, right, I need to have a conversation with you another time about what we can do, because I'd love to explore this on a personal note in more depth. I don't doubt we'll have listeners that are feeling the same way and would love to learn more about how you do that, how they can perhaps connect with you or ask any questions or see what your services could do for them. Obviously, we'll put links in the show notes, but what would be the best way for people to reach out to you or explore more of Octavia?
Yeah. So through Instagram is basically where I do all my things. I am One Mind Academy __ on Instagram. Depending on when listeners are listening to this, maybe in a few months, and maybe down the line, maybe 4 or 5 months, I might change and rebrand to Heart Awakening with Octavia. So try One Mind Academy first.
Yeah.
And then try Heart Awakening with Octavia and see what arises. But I will be there, and
We can always update anyway. So perfect.
Oh,
that was amazing. Well, I hope people do reach out and ask Octavia if you have any questions. Pop her a DM over on Instagram. I know we'll be talking more, definitely.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing your beautiful journey and really opening my mind today into a whole nother realm of possibility. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for having me. I love this.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, go out there and shine your light bright, because you were born to be brilliant.